to do another tips and licks video here. We're going to talk about what exactly I was doing in those tapped scales there. So, what you got there, think of B minor pentatonic, shape 1, which would be this, right? So, that would be at the 7th fret, pentatonic, shape 1. Now, if you're familiar with all the shapes of the pentatonic, you know that right behind it you would have shape 5. So you would have that scale. So we kind of start there, we go into shape 1, and then we actually come all the way up to shape 2 a little bit. But what you're doing is you're just doing an octave of the same lick with what I was doing there with the taps. So I think that's the best way to think of it. If you wanted to think of it as chords, you could, because you're technically playing 3 notes. So you got, this would be 6th string on the 5th fret, ring finger on the 7th, and then you're tapping on 12. And the notes there are A, B, and E. So you could argue that this is like an A sus2 chord if you wanted. That's totally fine. But it's really not. It's more of like a pentatonic scale than it is anything. So that's the easiest way I would think about it. So you start on shape 5, which would be at the 5th, 7th, 5th, 7th, on the 6th and 5th string. Now, just like you would a 3-finger scale, think of your tapping finger as your 4th finger. You're just reaching up to the 12th fret. So you're going to reach up there, and that's the first part of the scale there. And then you're going to move over to the 5th string, do the same thing. And that's the first part. You're going to then descend. So it would be a pull off with the tapping finger. And then pull off with the ring finger. So you're basically doing like a scale run. But you're doing it with a tap. So you're going. I kind of messed it up at the end there, but. So that's what you're trying to get. You then take this and you're going to go up an octave on the 4th and 3rd string. Whoops. Man. Now with that, this is where you get into pentatonic shape 1, the B minor pentatonic. And this is on the 4th and 3rd string. At the 7th and 9 frets on both strings, and then your tapping finger then has to move up to 14 on both strings. Think of everything you just did on the 6th and 5th string slid up 2 frets and over a set of strings. So then there's that. You're going to do that again. You're going to move, in this case now, because of the tuning of the guitar, you now have to slide up 3 frets, so that would be the next octave on the 2nd and 1st string, and that's going to be 10-12 on the 2nd, 10-12 on the 1st, and the tapping note is going to be 15th fret. Now when you descend, you also kind of have to do like you would a descending scale. Just like that. Now I don't do it in one go up and down. That would be pretty crazy. If you try to do it in all the way up and back down, you could try to do that. I don't really have a dampener, so when you're playing this with a lot of distortion, a lot is going to ring out if you're trying to do that, if you're not careful. I hone in on just 2 strings at a time for, like, I don't know, a couple measures. And as I move across with my tapping finger, with this finger here, the bottom part of my palm is touching the strings as I go. So the strings that are this direction from where I'm tapping, the palm is on there, stopping anything from ringing out. So when you're getting up here to the, especially that 3rd string, on accident you could hit that guy and it would sound awful. So, but there's some leeway, you know. Isn't there some beauty in a little bit of imperfections? So this is mainly, you know, I don't really, you could use it in obviously the given key, B minor pentatonic. You could use it over an E, something in E. I almost kind of consider this more of an effect than it is something musical, even though it can be musical. You could try to sit here and argue, well, if this is a chord, you could play like an E sus major 7 or something, a really dense chord. And you could just do that over it. And that would work. You could really do a very dense, almost 5-note chord, or a 7 chord, or a sus chord, and that would sound really great over that. So yeah, that's how you would do it. This is a little exercise. This really also locks in your tapping hand and your fretting hand, and you have to get each note to be as clean as the other. So when you're going, so you're trying to make it sound, everything is even. I will have the tabs at the end of the video like I've been doing, and with the given rhythms and some advice on metronome work, where to start, and slowly progress the speed, so that you can lock it in and not just be flailing about, but you actually have some control in what you're doing. Alright, so that I think sums up this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you next time.